Bimbo's life was painted in shades of hardship. From a young age, she had learned to fend for herself in a world that often felt unforgiving. She was no longer a stranger to empty pockets, broken promises, and nights spent wondering if there was more to life than mere survival. Even in her darkest days, Bimbo held her head high, her strength simmering quietly beneath her gentle exterior. She bought scars, both seen and unseen, yet moved through life with a calm resilience few could understand. In her early 30s now, the whispers around her had grown louder. Why is she still single? Friends and family hinted that maybe her standards were too high, or that she harbored secrets no man could accept. At her cousin's wedding, Bimbo endured the sideline glances and hushed conversation with a forced smile. Auntie's whispers just loud enough, their voices laced with curiosity and judgment. Maybe Bimbo is just being too selective. What is she waiting for? Does she think she'll be young forever? The words hurt, but she brushed them off with practiced ease, even as each one deepened the ache within her. Yet she couldn't deny the growing pressure. She had dated before, she had loved even, but just when she thought she had finally found the right one, he would unexpectedly turn and walk away, leaving her heart aching with pain and confusion. There was Tunde, who had once called her his forever, only to vanish without explanation, and Jide, whose sweet promises had dissolved overnight. Every relationship left a scar she carefully concealed, even from herself. Alone in her small apartment one night, Bimbo scrolled through the wedding photos on her phone, watching her friends in their wedding gowns, beaming beside their partners, stirred something deep within her. Sometimes she dressed her best to attract attention, hoping someone genuine would see her. But all she encountered were men who sought nothing more than to flirt or to live. Maybe I'm not enough, she thought, a chill settling over her heart. Or maybe I'm not just meant for love. Each day she heard about another broken marriage, she would tell herself that maybe staying single was better than risking pain in a marriage. She used this thought to comfort her loneliness, and yet her heart still yearned for companionship, a partner who would see her worth and stand beside her through life's storm. One evening, weighed down by loneliness, Bimbo found herself sitting beside Madame Foke, a wise 65-year-old widow. Her face bore the lines of experience, her eyes sparkled with a wisdom that seems endless. "What's troubling that pretty face of yours, my dear?" Madame Foke asked. Bimbo hesitated, but the warmth in the woman's gaze melted her defenses. "It's everything," she replied quietly. "I am tired of waiting, of hoping, of feeling like I'm never enough." Madame Foke leaned, her gaze intense, yet kind, her eyes seeming to hold secrets. She placed a gentle hand on Bimbo's shoulder, her voice dropping to a whisper that sent a chill down Bimbo's spine. "Life and time, my dear, they have their own secrets. If you are patient, you will learn them too." Bimbo couldn't shake the feeling that Madame Foke knew something about life and maybe love that she didn't know. What secret could this woman, who seems content in her solitude, possibly hold? She asked herself. Looking out at the evening sky, Madame Foke spoke with a calm voice, carrying the weight of her experience. "Patience teaches you to be your own anchor, to stand strong on your own," she began. "And when you find that strength, you won't settle for just anyone. You'll be drawn to someone who truly values you, someone who sees that strength in you." Bimbo murmured, "But I have been patient all these years." Madame Foke gently smiled. "Let me share something important with you. Many people misunderstand patience, but let me help you understand what it really is. Think of a farmer. He prepares the ground, plants the seed, does everything necessary, and then he waits for the harvest. That is patience. But today, too many are waiting for a harvest without preparing or planting anything meaningful within themselves. What they practice is not patience, it is self-deceit. Bimbo nodded slowly, feeling a light shine on parts she hadn't considered before. Madame Folake continued, "You must sow into yourself, build yourself, and make yourself valuable. Just as money holds value and draws people to it, when you develop your worth, you will naturally attract the right person. Remember, as you trust in God for the right partner, make yourself visible, don't hide away." Bimbo absorbed each word as if they were unlocking something within her. "In my time," Madame Folake added, "I have seen people rush into marriage because of pressure from family, friends, or society. But for some, the journey turned out differently, leaving them wishing they hadn't married. You see, marriage isn't just a cure for loneliness. It is a commitment, a partnership that needs understanding, love, and a sense of peace within yourself." Madame Folake's smile softened as she continued, "If you feel empty or lonely, start by filling yourself with joy, purpose, and peace. Find comfort in your own company, and don't let anyone or anything disturb your inner peace." Bimbo nodded again, realizing how she had always thought marriage would fill the gaps in her life. Now Madame Folake's word hinted a new path, one that started from within. As Bimbo walked back to her apartment that night, Madame Folake's words echoed in her mind, slowly shifting her perspective. Maybe, just maybe, finding her own peace and building her self-worth could be the first step towards a fulfilling future. As she lay in bed, Bimbo reached for her phone and decided to send a message to William. "Hey William, can we chat?" Williams answered, "Sure, what's up?" I just need, I need to know where this is going. It's been over 1 year and you keep saying we'll make plans, but nothing had happened." And Williams replied, "Bimbo, why the sudden pressure? We are good together, aren't we?" "I thought we were, but I kept waiting for you to take the next step, to show me that you are serious, that you actually want a future with me. Come on, Bimbo, why rush things? We are having fun, aren't we?" "Rush things? It's been a year. Don't you think it's time we decide what you want?" Williams: "Look, Bimbo, I'm not saying never, just not now. Can't we just enjoy what we have?" "Enjoy? Is that all this is to you? I thought we were building something special. Relax, Bimbo. I'm here with you. Isn't that enough?" "No, it's not enough. I've been holding on, waiting, trusting you. Do you even see a future with me?" "I care about you, but marriage is serious," Bimbo replied. "Then tell me the truth. What is the issue? You are settled. You have aged. What is holding you back?" Bimbo chatted back. "I'm just not ready. After more than a year? Why the sudden problem? Can't we just enjoy the moment? Enjoy this moment? So you never intend to make this serious? All those times you said, soon we'll start planning, were just empty words." "Bimbo, please don't take it wrong. I care about you. Just, Bimbo snapped. "Care? Do you realize how many times I turned down other options because I believed in us? Because I trusted you? But I didn't ask you to put your life on hold." "Wow! So it is now my fault," Williams replied. "Bimbo, you are a great person. You deserve someone who is ready." She stares at her screen, his words sinking, feeling the weight of the years slipping away. "I thought that was you." Bimbo sits in silence, the truth sinking in, and she got confused more. After her emotional conversation with Williams, Bimbo's heart weighed heavy with uncertainty. She felt torn between a love that seemed to go nowhere and the quiet, steady advice of Madame Foke. The following morning, still aching for clarity, she made her way to Madame Foke's house. As she poured out the conversation she had with Williams, Madame Foke listened, her face calm but understanding. My dear, never force a man to marry you. If he does, it won't be out of love or respect. You will feel the weight of regret. She paused, letting her words sink in. It's clear he doesn't value you as he should. Why wait for someone who can't see your worth? Bimbo looked down, feeling sadness and relief in Madame Foke's word. Madame Foke's eyes softened as she continued. A seed stone on stone cannot grow, no matter how much water you pour or how long you wait. Patience is good, but patience without wisdom is empty. Trying to grow with a man who doesn't want to commit is like sowing a seed on stone. It will never take root. She looked into Bimbo's eyes, her voice now filled with gentle strength. Don't spend your life with someone who doesn't see your worth. You deserve much better. A single tear slipped down Bimbo's cheek. That was stung but felt necessary, like a bitter medicine. One day, my dear, you will look back and be grateful that you saw this in time. It's time to let go. Painful as it is, you have to let go. Yesterday, I told you to focus on building yourself, becoming the happiest version of you, and keep yourself open, not hidden anyway. I promise you, a man who values you will be drawn to your strength and joy. Bimbo was so grateful. Thank you so very much, ma. As she stood up to leave, Madame Foke added softly, My daughter, always remember, you are a woman of value, deserving of love and respect. Bimbo left with a sense of peace she hadn't felt for a long time, her heart resolute and ready to move on. Months passed. Life has indeed taken a new color for Bimbo. She poured her energy and passion, found joy in small moments, and let her natural laughter fill the air around her. She started meeting new people, not looking for a partner but simply embracing friendship. It was during that time that she met Wilson. At first, she thought little of him, just a friendly face, a nice chat here and there. Yet, as they spent more time together, Bimbo noticed the way Wilson listened. Now he seemed intrigued by her happiness. She wasn't trying to impress anyone, but Wilson could see something special in her. One evening, as they chatted over the coffee, Wilson looked at her with curiosity. I have to ask, Bimbo, you seem so at peace, so genuinely happy. What is your secret? Bimbo smiled, remembering Madame Foke's advice. It's simple. I stopped looking for someone to make me happy and start finding joy within myself. Wilson nodded, his interest in her only deepened, and a connection sparked between them, a different kind of warmth, something genuine. As Bimbo and Wilson's friendship deepened, she found herself drawn to his gentle nature and unwavering respect. Wilson embodied everything she had longed for in a partner: patience, genuine interest in her dreams, and attentiveness that made Bimbo feel cherished. Every time they met, he surprised her with little acts of kindness that warmed her heart. Over time, her guided heart opened to the possibility of true happiness by his side. Finally, Wilson proposed. Bimbo felt as though her prayers had been answered. She thought about this. She envisioned a life built on mutual respect and happiness. When Wilson excitedly told his parents about Bimbo, Mama Wilson responded with a forced smile. Bring her over. Let us see her. But beneath her polite facade lay a hidden agenda. You know it's Flora I will want you to marry. Wilson rolled his eyes, surprised. Oh, come on, Mom. Bimbo is far better than Flora. I connect with her easily. Don't worry, I'll bring her over this weekend. On that fateful weekend, Bimbo arrived at Wilson's household, heart racing with anticipation and hope. However, From the very first meeting, Mama Wilson's disapproval was palpable. Mama Wilson didn't just disapprove, she scrutinized. Her gaze swept over Bimbo from head to toe, pausing on her attire with a flicker of barely concealed disdain. Mama Wilson barely acknowledged Bimbo's greeting, offering only a curt nod. Her disinterest loud enough for Bimbo to notice. Bimbo tried her best to engage with the family, but Mama Wilson's cold presence lingered, casting a shadow over her smile and polite exchange. Mama Wilson harbored dreams of different daughter-in-law, one who mirrored her ideas of sophistication and tradition. In her eyes, Bimbo was an outsider, someone who hadn't earned a place in their family. Mama Wilson had always envisioned Flora, a family friend, as the ideal daughter-in-law, a perfect match for her son, someone polished and sophisticated, reflecting the class and connection she valued. Bimbo made efforts to break through Mama Wilson's walls of disapproval, to win her over during her visit. She brought thoughtful gifts, hoping to show her appreciation and respect. When she learned of Mama Wilson's love for plants, she gifted a beautiful potted orchid, thinking it would melt the ice between them. Yet Mama Wilson barely glanced at it, muttering, "I prefer rose," before walking away. During family dinners, Bimbo took it upon herself to help in the kitchen, believing her efforts would speak volumes. She would wash dishes, chop vegetables, and set the table, trying to be the perfect guest. Yet Mama Wilson's dismissive attitude remained unchanged. "I would rather handle things myself," she would say, her tone icy as she waved Bimbo away. After one such dinner, Bimbo had offered to help with dessert, hoping to bond over the shared task. Mama Wilson merely replied, "A lady should know her limits. Let me manage this." It wasn't just the co-stars and brief conversation. Mama Wilson found fault in every slightest things Bimbo did. If Bimbo laughed too loudly, Mama Wilson would wince and murmur, "A lady should be more restrained." If Bimbo dressed up, Mama Wilson would remark, "This is just a party." And if she dressed down, she would sign, "Appearance says a lot about character." Those constant critics chipped away at Bimbo's confidence, leaving her feeling inadequate. Wilson noticed his mother's attitude and tried to intervene, assuring her, "Mama Bimbo is a good woman. I chose her because I love her and she makes me happy." But Mama Wilson was relentless. She would sigh dramatically, her voice laced with worry. "Happiness is fleeting. What about stability?" Each word aimed at chipping away at his confidence in Bimbo. "Can you honestly see her fitting into our family, carrying a legacy?" The tension continued to grow. The weight of Mama Wilson's words pressed down on their relationship. And no matter how much they loved themselves, it was as if Mama Wilson's shadow always lingered, stirring doubt and insecurity. Bimbo sat on the edge of her bed, thoughts swelling like a storm. Her mind lingered on Mama Wilson, with dismissive glances, the barely concealed criticism. "Maybe I just have to try harder," she told herself, taking a deep breath. She wanted so badly to win Mama Wilson over, to feel accepted, but each encounter seemed to chip away at her confidence. During the week, Bimbo received an invitation to the Wilson's family celebration. Her heart leaped with both excitement and nerves. This was more than just another visit. It felt like a test, an unspoken evaluation by Wilson's family, especially his mother. She wanted to show that she was ready to be part of their lives, to share in their tradition. Bimbo arrived, dressed in traditional outfits, hoping to honor the occasion and blend in. Wilson held her hand as he led her into the bustling home, filled with family members she had yet to meet. As they walked into the living room, Bimbo noticed that Mama Wilson seated regally in the center, observing the gathering with her usual poised demeanor. The moment their eyes met, Bimbo offered a respectful smile, only to meet with a brief uninterested nod. Bimbo, Mama Wilson's tone was polite but cold. I trust you know this is a special day for our family. Yes, ma, Bimbo replied, bowing her head slightly. I am honored to be here. As the celebration continued, Bimbo did her best to help and connect with other family members. She offered to assist in the kitchen, carrying trays and serving refreshments, hoping to show her willingness to be part of their tradition. But each time she passed by Mama Wilson, she felt that unyielding gaze, as if she was being watched for the smallest mistake. At one point, while serving drinks, she overheard Mama Wilson whispering to an aunt nearby, I had hoped he would choose someone with a bit more refinement. Flora, for instance, understands our way. She and Wilson were inseparable growing up. Bimbo's hands trembled, but she held her head high, determined not to let the whispers break her spirit. But as the evening wore on, Mama Wilson made her disapproval even more evident. During dinner, she casually commented on Bimbo. I notice you don't seem very familiar with traditional dish. A wife should know how to make her husband feel at home, you know? Bimbo forced a polite smile, swallowing the hot. She could feel other family members watching, some with pity, others with curiosity. The weight of Mama Wilson's judgment pressed down on her. She felt maintained and also composed herself, determined not to let anyone see her falter. After dinner, feeling a sudden need for fresh air, Bimbo excused herself and stepped outside. The wind brushed over her face, and she wondered how long she could endure this, how long she could be a shadow among people who didn't want her there. Wilson followed her, concern etched on his face. Don't let them get to you, he said softly. Ignore them, he whispered. You are here because I want you here. That is what matters. Your mother doesn't see me as part of this family, Wilson. I don't think she will ever. Just as he was about to reassure her, Mama Wilson appeared at the door, her gaze fixed on Bimbo. She cleared her throat and said, Bimbo dear, why don't you come to help in the kitchen? Her voice was laced with a forced politeness that made Bimbo's heart sink. In the kitchen, Mama Wilson handed her a stack of dishes, watching her with an appraising look. A good wife should know how to handle herself in the kitchen, she remarked casually. It is important for a family's reputation. Her words were sharp, her tone dismissive. Bimbo smiled politely, resisting the urge to respond, but the sting of those words lingered. After the occasion, as they drove home, Bimbo's silence filled the car. Wilson glanced over her, sensing her turmoil. You are doing everything right, Bimbo. I will talk to her again. She needs to understand that I have chosen you. Bimbo nodded, but that gnawed at her heart. She wondered if love would be enough to weather the storm, or if Mama Wilson's constant pressure would slowly erode what they had. At home, Bimbo sat by her window, staring into the darkness. The thought of stepping aside crept into her mind, a whisper she couldn't ignore. Maybe letting go was the only way to find peace, even if it meant walking away from the man she loved. Wilson couldn't keep his concern bottled up any longer. He knew the need to stand up for Bimbo, and there was only one person who could change his mother's mind, and that was his father. So one evening, he sat with his father, recounting all the ways his mother's disapproval weighed on Bimbo, and by extension, on him. Dad, I can't keep watching her feel like an outsider, he said, frustrated. I love her. I need her in my life, but Mom? Wilson's father raised a hand to stop him, his expression softening. Son, I understand, he replied. And I remember facing similar battles for your mother. The next evening, Wilson's father called a family discussion. Mama Wilson sat, arms folded, her gaze sharp as she listened. Mom, Wilson began, keeping his voice steady. I need you to understand that Bimbo is my choice. She's not perfect, but she's everything I want in a partner. Mama Wilson's eyes flashed with resistance. Wilson, you know I only want what's best for you. Bimbo may be sweet, but she doesn't understand our tradition. Someone like Flora, who grew up knowing our values, will make a much better match for you. Wilson took a breath, steadying himself. Mom, Flora may know our culture, but I love Bimbo. Isn't that what matters? Bimbo respects our family and is willing to learn. I need you to accept her because this is the life I want. Her mother's lips tightened. Wilson, love, don't always last, but family traditions do. I'm thinking about your future, about the family name. Just as the tension escalated, Wilson's father spoke up, his tone firm. Enough! The argument is going nowhere. He looked directly at Mama Wilson, softening his gaze. Remember when we were young, how my uncles stood against us marrying? They thought you weren't suited for our family. But I stood by you. I fought for us. Now it's Wilson's turn. He has chosen Bimbo, and she deserves a fair chance, just like you had. Mama Wilson looked away, her jaws set in difference. That was different, she muttered, but the determination in her husband's eyes kept her silent. After a long pause, she said, Fine, if that is what your son wants, I won't stand in his way, but I hope he knows what he's doing. It was clear to anyone and everyone that she wasn't happy about it. After the conversation, Wilson wasted no time. He called Bimbo, his voice filled with excitement. Thank you, Wilson, she whispered, her voice ticking with emotion, after Wilson explained everything to her. A few months later, they married in celebration that became the talk of the town. The event was an eventful one, and the kind of wedding Bimbo dreamed of. Even Mama Wilson put on bright smile for pictures, her posture as graceful as ever, but deep inside, her resentment simmered. She had agreed to Wilson's wishes, but she hadn't changed her mind about Bimbo. As she watched the newlyweds bask in their joy, she clenched her hands, making a silent vow to herself. I may have agreed, but this isn't over yet. Life couldn't have been more perfect for Bimbo. Her marriage to Wilson was a dream come true. He was not only her loving husband, but also her gateway to new opportunities. With the influence of his well-connected family, she had landed a prestigious job at a top oil company. Their mansion was kind you see in movies, grand, luxurious, and filled with all comfort she had ever imagined. Night after night, Bimbo went to bed, feeling blessed, confident that she found her happily ever after. People who often criticized her for staying single were now scrambling to be in her good graces. Old friends who used to pity her were asking for career connections, and even her once disapproving aunties couldn't stop singing her praises. Bimbo's new life seemed flawless. One evening, she and Wilson paid a visit to Madame Foke, the woman who had encouraged her during the most difficult times. You helped me become the woman I am today. Madame Foke, beaming with smiles, blessed her. 3 months later, one evening, Wilson's mother called, her tone warm. How is everything, my son? Is Bimbo treating you well? She asked sweetly. Wilson smiled. We are wonderful. I couldn't be happier. That's good. Has Bimbo taken in yet? Wilson was caught off guard. We are planning for that, Mom. That girl bewitched you. Before the wedding, you promised me news of a grandchild within the month. Now you are just planning. This isn't ordinary, the mother shouted. Mom, it hasn't come to that. Wilson tried to reassure her, but she cut him off. It has, Wilson, oh. Marry Flora, you said no. That is Bimbo you want. Now look at it. If I don't hear good news in 2 months' time, I will come myself and end it. Whatever spell she has over you. Wilson sighed, trying to calm her, but the call ended. He felt torn. He chose to keep the conversation away from Bimbo, not wanting her to worry. Meanwhile, Bimbo's past came knocking. Her ex, Williams, unexpectedly reached out. She reluctantly answered the phone, her tone cautious. "Hello, Williams." "Bimbo, I'm sorry for everything," he began, his voice smooth as silk. "That's behind us, Williams. I'm married now." "Congratulations." "Thanks," she replied. "Bimbo, I have been thinking about you," he said, his voice dripping with faint sincerity. "Can we meet? I still love you." "Are you insane?" "I am married," Bimbo scoffed. Williams replied and said, "Have our sex video, you know. If you don't want your husband to find out about those videos of ours, I suggest you cooperate." Bimbo's heart pounded. "Please don't do this." "What do you want?" "Oh, I think you know," he replied, his words dripping with menace. "Come to my place 6 p.m. Don't make me wait." "Please, Williams, I can't. I will send you money instead. Just delete the videos." He laughed, cold and unyielding. "It's not money I want, Bimbo. I want you." As her heart raced, Wilson entered the room, noticing her pale face. "Are you all right?" he asked, concerned. Bimbo quickly ended the call, forcing a smile. Wilson's eyes narrowed as he watched her hang up. "Are you sure everything's okay?" he asked, his voice gentle but probing. "Oh yes, just a friend," she stammered. Bimbo tried to smile, but the smile did not enter. Bimbo lay awake, her heart heavy and her mind racing. She couldn't shake the fear of what Williams might do if she didn't show up. Should she tell Williams everything? When dawn finally arrived, Bimbo found herself staring at the ceiling. Teary and exhausted, she dragged herself out of the bed, hoping her husband would not notice. But Wilson was always attentive. "Honey, is everything okay?" Taking a deep breath, she finally blurted it out. "Darling, there is something I have been keeping from you." She poured out the whole story, the videos, William's blackmail, and his threats. Wilson listened, his expression unreadable at first, but his jaw clenched slightly as she continued. When she finished, he took a deep breath, visibly pained. "Why didn't you tell me before now?" he asked, the hurt evident in his eyes. "I didn't even remember the video existed, and I thought I could handle it alone," she murmured remorsefully. Wilson held her gaze, his voice low but firm. "I need you to understand the risks. Doing things like this, the consequences will be severe. What if the phone used was stolen? The video will fall into wrong hands. Think of how this would impact your life, our lives, my family's reputation." He paused. "But thank God the damage isn't done yet, and we can still take control." He took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "We'll put an end to it. Call him and record everything he says. I will make sure he's silenced for life." With that, he turned away and walked, leaving her stunned. Relief washed over Bimbo. Despite her misstep, Wilson was there for her, standing strong beside her. In that moment, she realized how lucky she was to have him. "Wilson is God's gift to me," she thought. Despite the bitter taste of her past, he was an unwavering support. Gathering her courage, she dialed William's number. As the phone rang, she prepared herself to face him head-on. The moment he picked, his voice dripped with mock satisfaction. "Have you made up your mind yet?" he pressed on. "My mind for what?" "To make love with you, of course," he said, his tone was shameless. Bimbo gritted her teeth. "No, Williams. I'm married. I can't do that." "Oh, really? Then I will just have to show your husband the video. And make sure the whole world sees it too," he sneered. "But if you come over tonight and give me a good time, I will delete it." There was a pause, her silence perfectly into his trap. "Fine, I'll be there," she replied, her voice steady, masking her disgust. At the other end of the line, Williams couldn't contain his glee. "Yes," he exclaimed, already reveling in his perceived victory. "See you tonight, darling." Before hanging up, as she ended the call, Bimbo's lip coiled with a small smile. She had recorded every word, the incriminating evidence saved and ready. Hours later, Wilson returned, But this time, he wasn't alone. Bimbo watched as he entered with few stern-faced men, each one exuding an air of purpose. Wilson met her gaze, his expression unreadable. "It's time to end this," he said quietly, leaving her to wonder how far he was willing to go. Williams paced in his dimly lit apartment, his fingers tapping nervously on the armrest. He had always been a step ahead, always calculating his risks. Bimbo's sudden change of heart seems almost too easy. Could she have a plan? The thug nodded at him, but he quickly brushed it aside. He was the one in control and not her. Williams decided to take precaution. He wasn't going to let anything ruin his scheme. As Bimbo arrived, his nerves were on edge, but she put on her best mask of composure. Her mind was racing, thinking of Wilson's plan, the men who were waiting for her outside. She just had to play her part until Wilson made his move. Inside, Williams greeted her with a smirk. "I knew you would come to your senses," he sneered, his confidence spilling over. But before she could respond, the door swung open, and Wilson strode in, his face set in hard determination. Behind him were men he had brought along, law enforcement officers and a lawyer who looked as if he had seen one too many cases like this. The lawyer immediately pulled out a document, ready for Williams to sign, acknowledging that if any of the videos were ever made public, he would face life imprisonment. Wilson moved closer. With anger, he said, "Where is the fucking phone? Delete them now, you." For a moment, Williams faltered, a flash of doubt crossing his face. But then, in a moment of panic and rage, he reached for a nearby object, a heavy metal ornament on the table, and struck Wilson across the head. Wilson staggered, then collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Chaos erupted. Two of the officers sprinted after Williams as he fled, weaving through alleyways, trying to escape. Meanwhile, the remaining men rushed to Wilson, lifting his limp form with urgency and carrying him to the waiting car. They sped off towards the hospital, Bimbo trailing behind, her heart in her throat. At the hospital, waiting, Bimbo sat trembling and praying. She couldn't imagine life without Wilson, the man who stood by her despite everything. As she looked at the sterile walls, her mind reeled. How could she explain this to Wilson's parents? She could only imagine their reaction if they knew what had happened. Bimbo's anxiety grew. She watched the hands of the clock itch. She decided by morning she would find the right words. But all that matters now was that Wilson made it through the night. As the clock struck 9, Wilson's father, the Honorable Minister, settled down in his study, watching the evening news, as it was his routine. The familiar drone of the anchor's voice filled the room until a sudden headline caught his attention. "Breaking news: Wilson, son of Honorable Minister, hospitalized after brutal encounter with wife's ex." Wilson's father's hand froze, his teacup clattering into the saucer as the shock set in. His son? Wilson? Hospitalized? He barely heard the rest of the report, his heart pounding with question. He quickly called his wife. "Mama Wilson," he said, his voice thick with worry. "Come quickly. Something has happened to our son." Mama Wilson stood in the doorway, her eyes filled with anxiety. "I said it," she whispered. "That girl Bimbo is a witch. Now she's trying to kill our son to take everything and run off with her ex." Wilson's father tried to calm her down. "Let's not jump into conclusion. We need to find out exactly what happened. Let me try calling her. Isn't she supposed to call us? But no, we have to find out through the news like strangers." Her voice was full of bitterness. "She has a plan, but as long as I am here, she will never succeed." Wilson's father hesitated, realizing that his wife might have a point. With a reluctant nod, he nodded. "You are right. We will get to the bottom of this." Taking a deep breath, he dialed Bimbo's number. On the other end, Bimbo's heart pounded. How could she explain the situation? How could she possibly tell their son was in the hospital because of her, or because of a scandal involving her ex. The phone rang without an answer. Mama Wilson's eyes rolled, folding her arms. See, she's not even answering. I can't wait to go there myself and see what she's hiding. Wilson's father died again, his patient wearing thin. Finally, Bimbo answered. Good evening, sir, she greeted nervously. Bimbo, good evening, Wilson's father began. How is Wilson? He's been hospitalized. He's here, sir. He's stable, she stammered, trying to sound composed. I planned on calling you the first thing in the morning. I didn't want to wake you up this late. Mama Wilson's voice broke through the background. Where exactly is my son? And what has happened? She demanded, not even attempting to hide her disdain. Bimbo swallowed hard, her mind racing to find the right word. He's at St. Mary's General Hospital, she managed. There was an accident and he's been admitted. Incident? Wilson's father pressed on, his patient tinning. What kind of incident, Bimbo? Bimbo's throat tightened, realizing she had to tread carefully. It is related to Williams, my ex. He attacked Wilson. A heavy silence followed on the other end, before Mama Wilson's voice cut through like a knife. Williams, oh, this is all because of your past. Your reckless choices are dragging my son into your mess. Bimbo's voice cracked. Mama, please. I don't know things will turn out this way. I thought everything was under control. Under control? This is exactly what I warned everyone about. You are a threat to this family, and now Wilson is paying the price. Tell me the truth, Bimbo. What is really going on? Bimbo's hand trembled, gripping the phone as she tried to hold herself together. I can't explain everything on the phone, but please believe me, I never wanted this to happen. Wilson's father sensed the tension rising and gently interrupted. Bimbo, we will be there first thing in the morning. I expect to see Wilson in stable condition and we'll talk about everything else then. As the call ended, Bimbo sat back, feeling the weight of her situation pressing down on her. She knew Mama Wilson would never forgive her, and this was only the beginning of a new battle, one that might cost her not just Wilson, but her place in the family.